Las Vegas just made one of the most desperate bets in modern history. Beneath the surface of a dying lake, engineers drilled a tunnel that cost over $1 billion, a last line of defense for a city built in the middle of a desert that was never meant to support human life at this scale. Today, more than 2 million people live there. Tens of millions more visit every year. Every single one of them depends on water that comes from a single source, one lake. And that lake has been disappearing. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but slowly, quietly, over decades. Like a clock ticking down that most people never hear. By 2022, the situation had become so severe that officials were no longer speaking in hypotheticals. The possibility that Las Vegas could actually lose access to its primary water supply was no longer unthinkable. It was measurable. It was approaching, and it was real. So the city did something almost unbelievable. They went deeper than anyone ever had before. A city in the wrong place. Las Vegas sits inside the Mojave Desert, one of the harshest environments in North America. Rain barely falls here. On average, the region receives just a few inches per year. Summers are brutally hot, with temperatures climbing past 45 Centigrade peaks, 113 degrees Fahrenheit. The landscape is dry, cracked, and unforgiving. There are no major rivers flowing through the city, no natural lakes nearby, no massive underground aquifers capable of sustaining millions of people. By every natural standard, this is a place where a large city should not exist. And yet it does. But Las Vegas didn't grow because the environment supported it. It grew because humans forced it to. From dust to megacity. In the early 1900s, Las Vegas was barely a dot on the map. A small desert stopover with a population of just a few thousand people. Then everything changed. The arrival of railroads connected it to the rest of the country. The construction of Hoover Dam brought jobs, electricity, and, most importantly, water. Air conditioning made the unbearable heat survivable. And soon after, entertainment, casinos, and tourism transformed the city into something the world had never seen before. What followed was explosive. Decade after decade, the population surged. From a small desert outpost to one of the fastest-growing urban areas in the United States. Today, the Las Vegas Valley is home to over 2.3 million residents, and every year, roughly 40 million visitors pass through. That's 40 million additional people who drink water, shower, flush toilets, and cool themselves in a place where water is almost non-existent. One lifeline. Despite its size and global fame, Las Vegas has a critical weakness. Nearly all of its water comes from a single place, Lake Mead, a vast reservoir created by the Hoover Dam, fed by the Colorado River. At first glance, the system seems stable, massive even. Lake Mead was designed to store enormous amounts of water, enough to supply multiple states. For decades, it worked exactly as intended. Water flowed in during wet years. It was stored for dry periods. Cities grew around that assumption. But there was one problem. A mistake made long before Las Vegas became what it is today. The hidden flaw. In 1922, leaders from several western U.S. states signed an agreement to divide the water of the Colorado River. It was called the Colorado River Compact. At the time, it seemed logical, fair even. But there was a critical oversight. The data they used came from an unusually wet period in history. The river appeared stronger than it actually was over the long term. So they allocated more water than the river could consistently provide. Not slightly more, significantly more. That error didn't cause immediate problems. For decades, the system seemed stable. But as cities grew, farms expanded, and demand increased, the gap between supply and reality began to widen. Quietly at first, then faster, and then all at once. The lake starts to fall. Lake Mead became the central storage point for this entire system. It was the safety net, the backup plan, the reservoir that made everything possible. But starting in the early 2000s, something changed. the lake began to shrink. Year after year, water levels dropped. Droughts became longer and more intense. Snowpack in the Rocky Mountains, which feeds the Colorado River, became less reliable. At first, officials believed it was temporary, a natural cycle, something that would correct itself. It didn't. Instead, the decline accelerated. The shoreline pulled back. Boat docks were left stranded. White mineral bathtub rings appeared along the canyon walls, marking how far the water had fallen. Each year, the lake revealed more of what had once been submerged. Old structures, forgotten roads, even entire towns. It wasn't just losing water, it was exposing history. A dangerous threshold. There is a number that engineers and water managers watch very closely, a number that represents a point of no return. If Lake Mead drops too low, water can no longer pass through Hoover Dam. This level is known as dead pool. At that point, the system effectively breaks. Water is still there, but it becomes unreachable using existing infrastructure. For Las Vegas, that would be catastrophic, because the city doesn't just need water to survive, it needs access to it. And access depends on where the water sits. The warning signs. By the 2010s, the warning signs were impossible to ignore. Water levels were approaching critical thresholds. The original intake pipes, built decades earlier, were no longer positioned safely above the dropping lake. What once seemed like worst-case scenarios were now approaching reality. Las Vegas had a choice: adapt immediately, or risk running out of water entirely. The decision engineers and planners faced a question no modern city had ever truly confronted at this scale. What do you do when your only water source is disappearing? You can't move the city. You can't create rain. You can't replace a river that supplies millions of people across multiple states. So they chose the only option left: go deeper. Deeper than any intake system ever built before. Deeper than the problem itself. By the time Las Vegas made its decision, there were no easy options left. The lake was falling, the old systems were aging, and the margin for error was disappearing faster than anyone had predicted. This wasn't about planning for the future anymore. It was about surviving it. So engineers proposed something that, at the time, sounded almost impossible. Instead of building another pipe into the lake, they would build one under it. The idea that changed everything. Las Vegas already had 2 intake pipes pulling water from Lake Mead. The first had been built in the 1970s, back when the lake was full, and the idea of it dropping to dangerous levels felt almost absurd. The second came later, positioned lower, designed as a backup, but both shared the same flaw. They depended on the lake staying above a certain level, and that assumption was no longer safe. If the water kept falling, both intakes would eventually be left stranded. Sitting above the waterline they were built to reach. Useless. The city needed something different. Not a backup, a last resort, going deeper than ever before. The new plan was radical. Build a third intake at a depth no drought in modern history had ever reached. Not near the bottom of the lake, but beneath it. The target elevation was around 860 feet above sea level, far lower than the existing systems. To get there, engineers would have to drill a tunnel nearly 3 miles long through solid rock beneath the lake bed. Not soft soil, not sand, but dense, ancient volcanic basalt, some of the hardest material in the region. And above them, billions of gallons of water. Pressing down, waiting. The risks no one could ignore. This wasn't just another construction project. It was a high-stakes operation where failure could be catastrophic. If the tunnel collapsed, if pressure broke through the rock, if water flooded the system unexpectedly, there would be no easy recovery. Workers would be trapped, equipment would be destroyed, the entire project could fail instantly, and the city would still be running out of time. But they moved forward anyway, because the alternative was worse. Construction begins work started in 2008. From day one, the project pushed the limits of engineering. At the center of it all was a massive tunnel boring machine, a steel giant designed to chew through rock deep underground. It was enormous, over 20 feet wide, built to carve a precise path through miles of unforgiving terrain. Workers gave it a name, something almost human, because down there, it didn't feel like a machine. It felt like survival. The reality underground. Nothing about the tunnel was easy. The rock wasn't consistent, it shifted, cracked, changed density without warning. Some sections slowed progress to a crawl. Others threatened to break equipment entirely. Heat built up in the confined space. Noise echoed through the tunnel relentlessly. And always, there was the pressure. Not just physical pressure from the water above, but psychological pressure from what that water represented. Every worker knew exactly what was sitting overhead, and what would happen if something went wrong. Setbacks and close calls. As the tunnel pushed forward, problems began to stack up. Equipment failures, unexpected geological formations, water seepage forcing emergency adjustments. At multiple points, the project came dangerously close to major setbacks. Even a small miscalculation could throw off the entire alignment. And over a distance of 3 miles, even tiny errors compound. Miss the target by just a few degrees, and the tunnel could fail to connect where it needed to. Everything had to be exact. There was no room for correction at the end. Precision at an extreme scale. Guiding the tunnel required constant monitoring. Engineers tracked its path inch by inch, adjusting direction, correcting deviations, making sure that after miles of drilling through unpredictable rock, it would arrive at exactly the right point beneath the lake. It wasn't just about digging. It was about hitting a target you couldn't see, from miles away, through solid stone, breaking through. After years of grinding progress, the moment finally came. The tunnel reached its destination. A vertical shaft connected it to the intake point deep beneath Lake Mead. For the first time, Las Vegas had access to water at a level no previous system could reach. It worked. The engineering held. The design succeeded. Something that had once sounded impossible was now real. The cost of survival. But success came at a price. The final cost, over $1.4 billion, funded largely by the people of southern Nevada. Water rates increased year after year to pay for it. Many residents didn't fully understand what they were funding. Others questioned whether it was worth it. Critics called it excessive. Some called it desperate. But by the time it was finished, one thing was clear. Without it, Las Vegas would already be in a far more dangerous position. Perfect timing. The tunnel became operational in 2015, just in time. Because in the years that followed, the crisis intensified. Lake Mead continued to fall, and by the early 2020s, the situation reached a level few had expected so soon. For the first time in history, an official water shortage was declared on the Colorado River. Mandatory cuts began. The system was under stress. And the third intake, the third straw, was no longer just a precaution. It was essential. A system under pressure. Even with the new tunnel, the reality hadn't changed. The lake was still shrinking, demand was still high, and the entire region was still depending on a river that was no longer delivering what it once did. The third straw didn't fix the problem. It bought time. Time to adapt. Time to conserve. Time to figure out what comes next.